Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another session of Teams in 20. So today we're just mixing it up a little bit because it's Easter holidays and we know that lots of people are taking a well-earned break. So we pre-recorded this session as a bit of a bonus session, and it actually follows on to the session that we recently did about protecting your time with Viva Insights. Today's session is all about managing colleague attention. Now, I know that can be a challenge. So today we are going to talk a little bit about the dark side of collaboration and some recommendations for managing it. And today's speaker is going to be me, Jo Johnston. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager at Microsoft, looking after some of our amazing retail customers. So let's just have a quick think about what do we mean by the dark side of collaboration. Now, one thing we get asked a lot by our customers is how can we collaborate, communicate, and how can we work more effectively? Now, one of the major challenges we see are people are just really busy collaborating, but being busy doesn't necessarily mean they're being as effective as they would like to be. Now, research shows us that we're spending way too much time in meetings. We're talking a lot about getting things done. We love a chat, but we're not necessarily doing the work. So we're spending also too much time in emails. But again, looking at emails takes time. Managing those emails takes time. And we're doing a lot of time, but are we being as effective as we would like to be? So lots of organizations are experiencing what we would call that collaboration overload. And it can lead to a lot of hours being used, but then a lot more hours being needed to make up outside your standard working pattern. And it probably leading to a lot of burnout. So, leaders are asking us how much time do we spend working versus talking about the work? How many hours are we spending in meetings or in email? How much time are people having to do outside of their standard working hours? And there's been a lot of research with these Harvard Business Reviews, and we'll share the links to these as well in the comments. Now, what does collaboration mean? So, according to the Cambridge English Dictionary, there's a great explanation about collaboration, and it's really about the action of working with other people or organizations to create and achieve something. And although this is a great kind of sentence, it doesn't actually explain how we go about doing that. And a better way to explain collaboration might be more to consider the behaviors required to collaborate. We all need to be working on a common goal. We all need to be committed, and we all need to say that we're going to put that effort in to collaborate. So it's not necessarily about the technology that enables that collaboration. It's also about the behaviors that are needed by everybody in that team or whoever it is that you want to collaborate with. But before you collaborate, you need to consider what you actually want the outcomes to be. We always hear about this starting with the why, but this is often the bit of information that's missing. I speak to my customers all the time. I was kind of always taken back to like, well, what does success mean for you? How are you going to be measuring that success? What do you want the outcome of this meeting or this session or this workshop to be? Good collaboration requires good communication and information flow. But what is critical is the attention of the colleagues. If they're not listening or focusing, like some of you are probably not listening or focusing on the video 100% today, then you might not be achieving the outcomes you actually want to achieve. And there's three key areas to consider when you're thinking about the right collaboration behaviors that you need to be driving. So what will the collaboration behavior be around the direction, the duration, the intensity of that collaboration? What are the behaviors that you're going to need to drive? Now, to manage our attention, it's really important that we need to understand how our attention span works. So I'm going to give you a bit of an example. Imagine we're trying to put together a weekly report. This red dot is your attention span. So you're working on your weekly report when all of a sudden an email notification pops up from your friend John, And you go away and you go and check that email notification, but you decide you're going to reply later. But now you've got to bring your attention back to that weekly report. And if you look where the red dot starts, it starts right at the very beginning. And yeah, you might do more work on that weekly report, but you've had to start right from the beginning. And why? It's because the way our brains store memories, we move from a sensory memory to a short-term memory to the long-term memory, and our brain attaches information from one to the other. And there's a cost to you constantly having to switch contexts. So you become more tired. And the research has shown that this actually erodes around 40% of your productivity. So I'm going back to my weekly report. I've done a bit more, but then also my good friend Janice stops by and says hello, and I'm distracted again. So I've got to go back to where my last memory is stored and start that weekly report again. So it's taking me more and more time. And just before I'm about to finish my weekly report, up pops a message from Matt on Teams. And although I've not responded to Matt and I've only briefly kind of glanced at what he said, it's too late. I've been distracted by that pop up. Now, all of these things are good. They're all important. I need to speak to Janice. I need to speak to Matt. But actually, it's taking up way too much of my time and it's taking away my focus and it's making me more tired. So research has shown that on average, an office worker switches their attention every 3 minutes. And the secret of getting work done is to stop that switching and build in more time to focus. One recommendation is a technique called mental stillness. And there's various books and apps that talk about this. But there's also plenty of apps that talk about basic meditation, including Headspace, which you'll see is in Viva Insights. Now, other behaviors that you can promote in your organization to strengthen your attention, such as things like allocating focus time in your calendars with Viva Insights, keeping your community conversations in chat or Viva Engage, resisting that multitasking in meetings. I think we all do that. It's really hard to focus when nobody's watching you, but especially when you've got lots of urgent deadlines, but really be intentional about trying to not multitask in those meetings. Turning on focus time in Windows or Focus Assist, another great way to stop all these pop-ups and flashing tool bars and other areas of Windows that take away your attention. Review your workload. Are you attending way too many meetings? In Viva Insights, there is a section there that tells you how much time you spent multitasking in meetings, how many times you were late, how many times you stopped the meeting before the allotted time or went over the meeting. And then finally, I think just making sure that you are using the right tool when. So if I just take a quick look at Viva Insights, and if you want to know more, definitely go back and watch that other session. But Viva Insights has got some great tools to automate that focus time for you. It'll look at your calendar, it will see when you're available and ask you if you want to book some focus time in there. That's going to stop all that noise. That's going to stop all these pop-ups and kind of pings from people, stop those calls coming through. You can also set focus time whenever you want. If you just want to set some quick time in there, cut out the noise, maybe put even some background music on, or do some meditation, that Viva Insights is going to help you. And in the long run, that is going to make you more productive. Now, we always say in change management, build it and they will come is not a strategy. Usage does not equal adoption either. And Viva Insights helps you automatically set up some of this focus time and mental stillness, which is awesome. But having a change management program of work is really critical to people understanding that those tools are available, but understanding the why they should be using them. So it's really important that people understand why they would want to use these tools, and don't just see them as buttons that they press on and they set up every now and again, but actually adopt them properly. That's when you'll see real change. When people start building those real healthy habits, then that's going to make the real change. That's where you're going to start getting people's attention, hopefully increasing that productivity. Now, if you want to know more about the research that we have done and our architecture for modern collaboration tools, please go and check out this fantastic site, aka.ms/MOCA. There is loads of research there, loads of information about adoption and what tool when. And if you've enjoyed this session or you would like to see more sessions in the future on a topic that's close to your heart or something you're really struggling with, do fill out the survey. We will do our best to try and pencil some of those sessions in for you. And then just have a quick look at some of the sessions coming up. On the 19th of April is our next live session for all our community members. And that is going to be about building your community on Viva Engage. So join us on the 19th. And all that remains to say is thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope you find that useful and have a lovely rest of the day.